Good morning, everyone. It's 6:30. I'm Lindsey Hayes.
And I'm Amy DuPont. Police say anyone can buy heroin in the Coulee region any given day or night. In fact, it is such a problem, the federal government funds a local task force dedicated to arresting drug dealers and users.
And the Western Central Metropolitan Enforcement Group, or MEG unit, as it's called, works with law enforcement agencies in La Crosse, Vernon, Monroe, Jackson, and Trempealeau counties.
And the MEG unit allowed me exclusive access to a heroin investigation. As part of our special series of reports, Deadly Addiction, we go undercover in Vernon County.
All the way up the sidewalk.
Narcotics officers say the local drug trade is like a house of cards.
I'll park here.
Make the right arrest, and the entire operation comes crashing down.
You can just walk down Court Street right to the side door. Yeah.
Investigators in Vernon County hope this man can help them deal the first blow. He was arrested for buying heroin. Rather than go to jail, he agreed to work with police as a confidential informant. Armed with an undercover camera and police money, investigators asked him to buy heroin from 22-year-old Zachary George.
This is a kid that was a good athlete in high school not too long ago, and death of a family member, and he just resorted to drugs as a painkiller.
They believe he's an entry-level dealer, but if they can arrest him, he may give them the information they need to arrest his supplier and slow down the distribution of drugs in western Wisconsin.
He's already talked to him earlier and was told by the target that he was good with heroin and that he could come up anytime. Okay, doors open. CI's out of the building, westbound on the sidewalk.
This is video the informant captured inside George's apartment. Police say that's George packaging the drugs. The informant bought 3 points of heroin, enough to get high 3 times, for just $50.
It was a successful buy.
With this evidence, investigators have what they need to arrest George, but they let him walk. The plan is to buy heroin from him one more time so that when they do arrest him, they can charge him with multiple crimes.
It's been issued as a knock-and-announce warrant.
But a week later, investigators change plans and decide to take him down.
We got information that the target subject is re-upped, what we call, and he's basically received more heroin to start to distribute. So the investigators that are working this case decided it was a good time to go in with a search warrant and attempt to make the arrest.
A team of 7 officers surround George's apartment building, then slowly and quietly make their way to his front door.
Sheriff's Department, search warrant, open the door. Open the door, Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department, search warrant, open the door. All right. On the ground. Yeah.
Hands up. Hands up where you can see him. On your face. On your face, on the floor. Matt, cover me. Hands behind your back.
What is this for?
You know what it's for?
You got anything on you?
No.
Room's clear, 1 in custody.
Officers searched George's room for more than an hour, but didn't find any heroin.
They found the suspect in the bathroom dumping what we believe to be the heroin and whatever other drugs he had down the toilet. And the toilet was flushing as the officers hit the room.
Investigators did find what they describe as the materials used to distribute heroin and other drugs, like a scale, and the bags heroin is often sold in. With that evidence and the heroin and videotape they collected earlier, officers have enough to place Zachary George under arrest.
If you're dealing drugs in Vernon County, you will be caught.
Now, the Sheriff's Department arrested Zachary George for the delivery of a controlled substance and conspiracy to deliver heroin. He did spend 1 night in jail. He was then released on a signature bond the following day while investigators prepare their reports. I did speak with the Vernon County District Attorney Tim Gaskell, and he does plan to charge George with several felonies at the end of this month.
And for you, her and our photographer, John, were so close behind law enforcement as they conducted this bust. What was that like?
Your heart is beating quickly, I won't lie. We were coming up to the building and Tom turned around and said, "Whatever you do, stay behind me at all times." And I was like, okay, I will do that. And then I noticed he was hugging the building, so I hugged the building. And when they hit the door, we were at the bottom of the stairs. moved like lightning up the stairs. It was intense.
We've been checking in this morning at Gunderson Lutheran with their new ICE building, and this is a training and education site for many surgical students from all across the country. ICE standing for Integrated Center for Education, and it provides those students with hands-on, real life, as close to they get surgeries. Yes.
Yeah, so let's go in and check in this morning again. And doctors, what are you up to right now?
Good morning. Well, as Dr. Jarman explained, general surgery training is 5 years in length, but some surgeons choose to pursue additional training in an area of expertise. One of those areas is what we call advanced laparoscopic surgery or minimally invasive surgical techniques.
How much harder is this these days for these doctors and people to learn about? I think it's so interesting now where it's not really the hand is ever in, it's so minimally invasive that it's really the tools doing much of the work.
This is true, and along with those tools comes the talent to go with it.
How does it feel when you compare the two, to be working with the real patient and the Sims lab? How different, how alike is it?
It's pretty much similar, but it simulates the depth perception that you get on an actual patient.
And we're going to check in with you guys one more time this morning. We'll let you get back to work, do a little bit more studying, and we'll see you in a little bit. Well, a close call for a bus driver on French Island Thursday morning. The 78-year-old driver ran off the road, hit a tree, and nearly wound up in the Mississippi River. Now, there were no children on board. The bus hit a telephone pole before going over an embankment at Lakeshore Drive and Goddard Street just after 10:30 Thursday morning. No word yet on a cause. The driver had no visible injuries but was taken to the hospital for an evaluation.
The first fiscal cliff meeting is set to begin sometime this morning. President Obama is going to meet with civil rights organizations and also some advocacy groups to discuss negotiations with Congress. Now, this goal is to prevent automatic tax increases and deep spending cuts that are scheduled to take effect in January. President Obama is asking for $1.6 trillion in new taxes over the next 10 years. Republicans say that any tax rate increase is unacceptable.
The Obama administration has given states another month to decide what role, if any, they'll play in carrying out the new health care law. Instead of having to declare their intentions by today, whether they'll establish a state-based insurance marketplace under the Affordable Care Act, states now have until December 14th. The marketplaces or exchanges will help those without insurance shop for coverage. Now, states that don't set up their own systems will leave it up to the federal government. The Associated Press reports 16 states are still mulling over their decision. But here in Wisconsin, we should know Governor Walker's decision this morning. Walker has been an outspoken opponent of the law. In a preview of his decision, he suggested to the New York Times this week that he will leave it to the federal government, saying he would much prefer control at the state level, but that he doesn't believe the law allows it to be fully state-run. Walker added that he doesn't want to take a potential risk to taxpayers if he doesn't have any true authority about what will happen.
Wisconsin's newest job numbers show that we have private sector job growth. Now, the report was released by Governor Walker's administration, and it shows that there was an increase of about 1.5%, and that equals around 35,000 jobs. Government jobs also saw a little bit of an increase. It was around 21,000. And the unemployment rate dropped from 7.3% to 6.9%. Minnesota's unemployment rate is also now holding steady this past month at 5.8%. However, the state did lose around 8,000 jobs. Now, according to the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, 5,600 private sector jobs were lost and 2,500 were in government. The national unemployment rate sits at 7.8%.
Further investigation of the crash involving a 71-year-old man and an Augusta police officer this weekend reveals the driver may have fallen asleep at the wheel. This is dashcam video of the crash. Moments before that happened, investigators believe the Indiana driver was asleep. Augusta officer Dane Wineski had just made a routine traffic stop on Saturday when his SUV was hit. Now get this, he was not seriously injured. The Eau Claire County Sheriff's Department says the 71-year-old driver was ticketed, but they do not plan to recommend any criminal charges.
It is deer hunting eve, and it's officially here for around 600,000 Wisconsinites. Warmer weather, though, does have some hunters concerned about how to preserve deer meat this weekend. Wisconsin's firearm deer season opens tomorrow morning. I'll be in the woods. Highs are forecasted at around 50 all weekend. Lows will be in the mid-30s. Some hunters are concerned about bacteria and spoiled meat. We are now about 20 minutes before 7 o'clock, and Alex is standing by with our weather window.
Well, good morning, Lindsay. Today's weather window is from Katie, and she is jumping into a pile of leaves after raking them all up. Unfortunately, we don't have any leaves left around here. Can't do that activity this weekend, but it should be a gorgeous weekend around our area. The details coming up next. Good Friday morning, 16 minutes before 7 o'clock, and we have a brand new winter outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. This differs from earlier this week. We had a little weather report about what the winter may look like. Now that we've got a fresh set of maps as of yesterday, here's what it now looks like, or at least the prediction may be for December, January, and February. Drier than average weather. We have above normal chances there in California and Nevada, and the wetter than normal weather potentially is going to move northward now into Missouri, as well as Kentucky, Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. So that area of possible wetter than average weather has moved northwards. For us, we did have a little bullseye over the Midwest for possible drier than average weather. However, now we're looking at equal chances for above, near, or below normal. So it's kind of up in the air at this point as to how much precipitation we may get, but it is an improvement, at least because we're not looking at a good chance for below average, and that's it. We have chances for above average precipitation, and we could take all that we can get because of that drought situation.
We're going to head back to the ice house again this morning to see what they're up to. Dr. Jarman, what's going on now?
Welcome back. So right now, Dr. Zelmer, who you met earlier, is working on some basic laparoscopic skills that are necessary actually for every surgeon in the United States who comes out of residency training.
How long and how many times do they practice in the Sims lab before they actually move into a real OR where there's a real person?
So there's different skill sets they do in the operating room, and at Gunderson Lutheran we have residents come from all over the country, and we try to get them in the operating room right away.
What is Dr. Zelmer doing right now with these blocks?
Yeah, so this is another skill set that is required, and it involves, it's called peg transfer.
How does this transfer into the operating room?
Yeah, I think it's more hand-eye coordination and just getting used to using both hands with instruments.
We appreciate your time and the time of your residents for getting up so early this morning. It's really neat to see the steps that are now being taken to make, patient safety so much better.
Welcome back. We have an update for you on Ben Fears. Ben is the Holman High School wrestler that was seriously injured in a car accident on Christmas Eve last year. Now, initially, some thought he might never walk, talk, or much less wrestle again. However, throughout the past 7 months, he has beat the odds, and yesterday he was back on the mat at Holman High School for the first time since that accident. This two-time state qualifier has been rehabbing almost nonstop since last winter. And this year, he's going to wrestle on the junior varsity team, making a remarkable comeback. It has been so exciting for him. He's now driving, hunting, fishing, and was also named Homecoming King this fall. Congratulations to Ben and his family. Stay with us. We'll be right back with a recap of today's top stories. Good morning. Welcome back.
Here's a look at some of the stories making news today. The Obama administration has given states another month to decide what role, if any, they'll play in the new health care law. The marketplaces or exchanges will help those without insurance shop for coverage. States don't have to set up their own system. They can also leave it to the federal government. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is expected to announce his decision later this morning.
It is deer hunting eve. Busy day for many hunters. The warm weather this weekend does mean that hunters need to keep in mind some safety tips to avoid bacteria and spoiled meat. Please remember, after you shoot your deer and once it is skinned, hang it in a dry, cool place.
When it comes to specifics, we'll have sunny skies today, a little cool, 48 degrees for a high, mid-50s this weekend under bright sunny conditions. So that could be problematic for the deer hunters. For the runners, we'll be at the turkey trot tomorrow morning, looking pretty nice for that forecast.
Missing out, Lindsey.
Good luck to you too. I'm going to be in the woods going after a big buck, and I consider that a good day.
Good luck to you too, I think.
Good luck to
Have
everybody.
a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you Monday.